Good day, everyone. Welcome to Views Today. I'm your uncle, Mr. Osas, and today we'll be discussing on a very sensitive and vital topic that is confronting our society today. And the topic is: can political corruption be completely eradicated, or is just an inherent trait in our society today? Looking at Nigeria today, we see so many things that is happening, and it is something that is bordering on everyone, and every citizen, every member of the state deserve to know our states at this present time. And here with me from my left hand is Mr. Mark, and he's a philosopher and also a PhD review. And from my right is Mr. Ononjiri, a political scientist. You are welcome to the program today.
Thank you.
We know that political corruption is a stain on governance in our society today. And in Nigeria, it has become an inherent flow that we citizens will just live by it, and we don't have much to say or more to contribute to because of the bourgeoisies, that is, those persons that have attained a particular position and they feel that they could not be talked to. I will start by asking you, Mr. Ononjiri, what do you understand by political corruption?
Well, if you're talking about political corruption, it depends on how you term it or how you want to define it. But when we are talking about corruption at large, is a stain on governance. That is something that has to do with each and every individual in a state, in a particular state, the way at which you participate. But corruption is seen all over the world as far as politics is concerned. Corruption is all over the world. But using Nigerian as a case study, in the year 2011, 2012, when they were making the research, we were made to understand that out of in the most corrupt country in the world, Nigeria is not up to 1 to 10. But what made us corrupt is what? Bad leaders. So we won't say Nigeria is totally corrupt, but we can say we have what we call bad leaders that are leading us, that are not leading us in the right path. So when you're talking about corruption now, it has to do with the way you are putting it. So for now, Nigeria is seen as one of the most corrupt country as at 2024 now, or 2023. But in the other hand, it's not something that has to do with individual. It is a collective thing. So that is the way I see it, corruption.
All right, thank you very much. To you, Mr. Mark, and as at 2023, Nigeria was ranked 150 out of 180 countries that were in that ranking order. That is, those that were highly corrupt. Nigeria being ranked 150 out of 180. I think this is a great thing to a country like Nigeria, looking at our resources and everything that we can use to affect the people positively. Now, Nigeria is in this mess, 150 out of 183. What do you have to say about this?
Well, I wouldn't say we've done badly, and I wouldn't say we've not done badly. If you look at the ranking order, there are still countries that Nigeria is far better than.
Okay.
We are 150, and the ranking was done out of 183. But suffice it to mention that the issue of corrupt practices in Nigeria is not just a leadership team.
Okay.
It also involves a followership team, or it also takes a followership dimension. I do not feel comfortable when we keep shouting leadership, leadership, leadership. In as much as we have a culture of bad leaders in Nigeria, we also have a litany of bad followership in Nigeria. Now, when you give someone something to do, the person doesn't need to be a leader to actualize it. I remember sometime in the past, a friend of mine living in the UK wanted something done for him in Nigeria and contracted his family members to help him actualize that. At the end of the day, after spending so much money on the project, it was still his family members who shared this money amongst themselves, and nothing was done. Will you hold Tinubu, Buhari, or Jonathan responsible for that? The answer is no. until we begin to be conscious of our responsibilities as a people, we will never make progress as a nation. I do not want to continue holding our leaders accountable. As followers, we must also hold ourselves accountable. Until we start doing that, we will remain where we are. Thank you very much.
So sorry. Before you continue, I just want to ask one or two things. The reason why, when he said he does not blame our leaders,
Okay.
like I said earlier on, I said in some years back, Nigeria was not ranked one out of 1 to 20. Nigeria was not ranked among the corrupt country in the world. But because of all what we've been doing, now look at it. We have all the resources.
Okay. Yeah.
We have virtually all the resources in Nigeria, but our leaders fail to use those resources. The fact still remains that we have the leaders, we have the followers. If the leaders are not leading very well, what do you expect the followers to do? Some of these followers do not have that privilege to be there, but they choose that, okay, you represent us, and in the process of representing, at the end of the day, what do? You lead them astray. That is why I said I will still continue to blame our leaders, because they did not maintain that status quo. If we are not if we are saying that we are not Nigeria is not among the corrupt country in the world as at maybe 2020, 2002, 2005 thereabout, and we are saying 2023 now, out of 180 is a stain. As far as Nigeria is concerned, because if you look at Nigeria is one of the giant country in Africa, and we are now saying 180 and we are ranked 150. It means something is totally wrong. Our leaders are not doing the right thing.
I still believe it is not just a leadership problem. Nigeria being ranked 150 in the world cannot just be because of leadership. I make bold to say that. Okay, it's a vicious circle. Who taught us corruption? As at independence, were we ranked corrupt? The answer is no.
No, I was coming to that.
The British taught us corruption. Yes.
Yes.
Our colonial masters taught us how to be corrupt.
Favoritism came in.
By favoritism, by
Nepotism.
handing power over
To the northern.
to the northerners, who we all know are next to nothing in leadership.
Okay, sir. I'm still coming to that.
So this is when we talk about corruption, we shouldn't just limit it to stealing money or pilfering. No, it is all encompassing. We shouldn't just narrow it down to one aspect. Transparency International, that ranked us 150, know what they are doing. Like I said earlier on, Nigeria has done well by being 150, because we still have 33 other countries we are far better than.
Out of 180.
Yes, we are not the last. That's the way I carry out my own judgment. If we were the last or next to the last, that is when I will know that we are way down the bottom.
So sorry. I would like to ask you a question. When you were saying the colonial master taught us to be corrupt, now, before the colonization of Nigeria, or before Nigeria gained our independence, we were using our traditional rulers, and we are ruling fine. Was there no corruption that time? There is, but not as it is now.
It was minute.
Now, the way I'm going is this now. After independence, we decided now to be ruling ourselves. Is it that we do not have that zeal to limit that corruption? Because now the British that brought us independence, they are far better than us in times of corruption. Their country.
Are you for real?
Their country. No. I'll be sincere with you. Now I will take Argentina for example. Argentina does not have any resources. But if you are still looking at Argentina today, Argentina is using football as a source of income to their country. The likes of Brazil, the same thing. But Nigeria has everything. We have the crude oil, we have bitumen, we have all the resources. But now you said it is from the during our colonialism. If we have good leaders after colonialism, are we supposed to continue with the trend or what the British impart into our country?
In Nigeria, we have a culture of when we learn to the extreme.
Okay.
It's a culture.
Okay.
That is why when you look at the litany of atrocities and barbaric acts that are happening in this country, you discover that, okay, let me use kidnapping for instance. When kidnapping started in the early 2000s,
Okay.
in this country, where did it start from? It started from the Niger Delta, with the Niger Delta militants clamoring for resource control. Who were the targets? Expatriates. They kidnap expatriates, they pay ransom, they let them go. But when kidnapping left the South region or geopolitical zone and went to the Southeast geopolitical zone, trust my Igbo brothers, we are very good at learning the bad things more than the good things. Kidnapping became
A business.
a business. Now it left the Southeast, came down to the north, and they branded it banditry. Let's not forget that there was terrorism already on ground in the north, added with banditry and kidnapping. And we all know where we are at the moment globally. And in the southwest, it's not left. All these are corrupt practices. Now, you will be quick to say, blame the leaders. I am not taking the blames of them, because if they have done the right thing, if they have put the right things in place, we will have less crimes in the society.
That's what I'm saying.
But then, as Nigerians, like I said earlier on, we learn to the extreme. And the things we learn to the extreme are oftentimes not the best of practices. We tend to internalize corrupt practices more than the good practices. Now, in terms of resources, yes, Nigeria has the best resources in the world,
Yes, we're blessed.
both in terms of natural resources and human capital development. You just mentioned that Nigeria is the giant of Africa. Yes, Nigeria is the giant of Africa because of population and size.
Not
But
only because of population.
Listen, let me finish. Because of population and size, that's the essence of our giantry at the moment. But you will all agree with me that currently Nigeria is a sleeping giant because we are not harnessing our resources the way it should be.
And whose fault is that?
Both leaders and followers.
No. You see, if you are saying followers, they don't just bounce on the followers. Okay, for instance now, if an outsider is coming into Nigeria now, okay, let me say our colonial masters are coming to Nigeria now, would they bounce on the followers immediately, or would they see the followers immediately? No, they will have to see the head first before you come to the tail, before you see the followers. So it means the head are not doing the right thing. Now, the reason why I say the head are not doing the right thing is look at all our ministers. Minister of Agriculture, what does he know about agriculture? Minister of Finance, what does he know about finance? Minister of Education, what does he know about education? And all these people are there doing nothing. That is why we are saying that it is still the leaders, because they choose the wrong people to run a particular affair,
And the followers allowed them. And the followers allowed these people in power.
All right. Thank you, my guest. I've listened to your input and all that. Okay. And the question still remain: can corruption be completely eradicated in Nigeria? Looking or recalling our mind back to various agencies that have been set up, talking about the ICPC, the EFCC, and all that. All these are some of the agencies that have been set up by government to ensure that the corruption is being reduced to the bare minimum. So, can corruption be completely eliminated? Looking at these agencies that the government has set up,
We can only reduce it. It cannot be eradicated completely. The reason is this. You've mentioned EFCC, you've mentioned ICPC.
yeah.
These agencies are just there to fulfill political purposes. The EFCC is busy chasing Yahoo boys without looking at those who embezzle the treasury. The EFCC is busy harassing boys with dreadlocks on the streets with the Nigerian police,
Okay.
without paying attention to those who inflate contracts.
Okay.
One of the major problems of this country, which nobody is pointing towards or pointing at, is contract inflation. A bridge, a 10-kilometer bridge in Nigeria costs not less than $50 million to construct.
Okay.
Whereas a 10-kilometer bridge somewhere in the US or China costs about $5 million. Now, someone will say topography or environmental factors. Even when we factor in these things, it shouldn't be that expensive. But for the fact that we have politicians who are in charge of the ministries, who award these contracts, and followers who liaise with these politicians to inflate these contracts because of settlements. What we run in Nigeria and in some other parts of the world is a government of settlements. You pay this to get this, and by so doing, you want to make extra profit to cover for the things you spend settling. So it cannot be completely eradicated.
Okay.
It can only be reduced, but to what extent it can be reduced, it is what I cannot explain.
Okay, still on the way forward, and in the President Muhammadu Buhari administration introduced TSA, single treasury accounts. They also have BVN, we also have a NIN. All these things were introduced to reduce cash-based corruption. My question to you now is, all these things that have been introduced by government, what have been the level of their implementation or enforcement?
Well, I laugh when you said when they introduced. After the introduction, what do? They are still the one violating those rules. Okay, I am as at that last year when we are having the issue of cashless policy, where the issue of the new notes and the old notes,
okay,
the masses are there having issues on how to get the new notes, while some individuals are there with bundles of the new notes. So what are we saying? Is that not corruption? To me, it's not something I see that is going to be eradicated, because it's becoming hereditary. If you ask our youth today, or any youth or any young one today, that if you are given a 24 hours presidential seat, what will you do first? You will say, I want to what? I want to embezzle. That is where the corruption is. It was saying something the other time. You see, the reason why I said corruption cannot be eradicated is, I will go back to some years. Now, Desiani, our former Minister of Petroleum,
okay, yeah,
up to this very moment, we were told he is being detailed. Where is she up to this very moment? Nobody can talk about it. Now, Abba Kyari was supposed to be in Kuje prison up to this very moment.
Abuja, okay.
In Abuja. But there was what we call prison break when they entered into Kuje prison. Up to now, nobody can tell us if Abba Kyari is in that prison. So what are we saying? It means what? They do those things. After doing it, they put them in one place, and they'll tell us, yes, they are facing the consequences, they are facing the punishment. But at the end of the day, in the real life, those people are not facing anything. Rather, they are even enjoying more. So to me, it's more or less like a game. They are using it as a game. That's why I always tell people that politics is a dirty game. If you cannot play it, it's not meant for the innocent, or it's not meant for the righteous people, because you have to play it dirty. And that is what they are doing. So it's not something that can be eradicated, but we just pray that God one day will raise a leader that will do the right thing. Now let me give you another instance. Look at Ambode. I will pick Ambode as Lagos, the past Lagos State governor.
Yes.
Ambode was doing fine.
Okay.
though everybody has their own flaws.
Okay.
He has his own flaws during Fashola's regime,
Okay.
where Fashola said he embezzled one or two things.
Okay.
I'm not going into that. But he came into the seat, and he makes sure that every fund that is going out of Lagos, coming into Lagos, pass through his table. Why is he doing that? To checkmate. But at the end of the day, the godfatherism or the
Godfatherism,
yes,
yes,
all those people now say, you cannot cut all these things away from us. What do? They plan for his what? His exit, and before you know it, it was removed. Assuming during his removal, they did what we call secret ballot election.
Yes.
It will have still been cocktail that you will still see some people that will vote for him. But what did they do? They did an open election.
Balance.
So in that case, if you are voting for somebody else at that time, you're on your own. You'll be kicked out. So that is still corruption. So until we get the right thing to do, or we have the right leaders, then we'll be able to know what we are doing.
For your
Thank
insight. Thank you very much for the question. You remind me of the one of political thinker Harold Laswell, and he's saying that a politics is who gets what, when, and how. And political corruption may be seem deeply rooted in Nigeria today, but history has shown that with a quality leader and transparency, the whole thing can be turned around. We may not be able to build a perfect society, but we can build one which corruption is exception to the norm. Thank you very much for having us.
Frank, what?
150 out of 180.
150.
Yes, out of 180. Yes, on transparency. These are going to international corruption perception index. What's your take on this?
We did very well. We ranked very well. Yes, our ranking is actually very much in order.